Here. So yesterday was a very bad day for Facebook. It suffered the major outage, as most of you know. But what you might not know is the reason. So there is some technical stuff. I was in contact with a good friend of mine who works in security and reads a lot of Reddit, and there was some back and forth exchanges with who is supposedly a Facebook employee, and they were, kind of shedding some light early on as to what happened. And to the simplistic, the most simplistic thing is there was a configuration error that got populated to all of their chat, or all of their routers throughout the world. And the best estimate, or the only estimate that I've heard, is about 60,000 of those routers. Now, with that said, I don't know how many of those are in data centers, and I don't know how many of those are crucial to people who work on work on what, how much of that is for Facebook, how much of that is for WhatsApp, how much of that is for Instagram. But apparently the problem was so widespread that Facebook employees could not email each other to communicate. They also could not, apparently their key cards were not working to get in and out of rooms at their offices. So it created a what effectively some were calling a quote unquote snow day in the Facebook land, right? But some of the bigger issues there, people weren't able to log in on other people's websites utilizing the Facebook authentication that they had utilized. So my recommendation is, whenever you sign up for a new website, don't use Google, don't use Facebook, don't use Twitter or any other service to log into that website. Create an account, an email address, even if it's a junk email. Make sure you're using a password that's not the same password that you use for other things. And that way you're not blocked out from utilizing the services because you just could not log in, because literally anything that was connected to Facebook.com was down, including the fact that people could not, or people from the GoDaddy services and like other domain registration services actually thought that Facebook.com was vacant and was actually enabling it to be up for sale. Now, obviously, it wasn't up for sale, and it would be interesting to see if there was a bid for it to see how much it would have actually could have gone for. But this is the kind of stuff that happens, right? It happens in businesses. It doesn't normally happen in businesses that are worth as much as Facebook is, but it just goes to show you that anything can happen. With that said, this isn't the end of the world for Facebook. And because when you look at their overall track record, the last time, you have to go back to 2008 was the last time they had an outage. And I think that outage was just for like a couple of hours. I actually remember that day, surprisingly. But yeah, so it's important to have backup protocols for your business. Make sure that you're able to communicate with your customers, ideally through email. Check superjoepardo.com/aweber. You can get your account. There's a discount code there down in the description, and that'll enable you to have direct access to your customer base without having to go through Facebook, without having to go through Twitter. Some of the memes were hilarious yesterday, mostly on Twitter, that I saw. Even Twitter saying like "hello" literally everyone, and and even some of the other accounts. Other accounts and companies chiming in to kind of poke fun at the fact that Facebook was down. Look, a lot of people got got things done productively yesterday, which was awesome to see, that, the world didn't stop spinning. But I just want you to always be thinking like, what can I do to diversify how I'm communicating to my customers, and even myself, right? So my independent podcast conference and community, the community is based on Facebook, and there's over 5,000 members in that group. So I have emails for around half, maybe a little over half of those people, but I don't have all the emails. So I'm putting an effort forward to make sure that I try to collect as many emails going forward from that group, just so that I have communication, not because I'm trying to spam them, not because I'm trying to sell them every 5 seconds, but because I want to make sure that, like, when we host our events, that we am able to actually have communication to those people. So make sure that you're doing everything you can to diversify that those messages to your customers base.